Hello, my name is Steven, and welcome to the full walkthrough of Phoenix Rise, Hit, and Whoosh Builder. After creating a vast and inspiring collection of various risers, hits, and whooshes, we aimed at making the most useful, creative, and intuitive interface to go along with it. The result is an instrument that's not only easy to use, but delivers impressive results in almost no time at all. Looking at the instrument, you can see we've provided 4 layers of audio, where you can design your own rise to hit combination. Or you can turn any rise and hit combination into a single engine to load a whoosh sample. With a rise, hit, or whoosh engine, each will have their own independent controls to further tailor and customize your sound. Let's look quickly at the overall layout, then we'll dive into a bit more detail. When you first open Phoenix, you'll see this large knob to set the rise time of your sample. The rise time can go from as short as a half second all the way to 32 seconds, or choose timing based on numbers of beats, from 1 to 32 beats. You'll notice Phoenix retains excellent sample quality no matter what timing for the sample you choose. Below this knob is the main control section of 8 different engines to build a combination of up to 4 different risers along with 4 hits. And as I mentioned before, you can change each pair of riser and hit combinations into a single channel containing a whoosh sample. Also, notice this arrow icon where you can drag and drop your own samples into the engine. When using your own samples in either a riser or whoosh channel, they will automatically tempo sync to the rise time that you've selected. In the upper right-hand corner, you can toggle your view between the waveform or additional editing controls for each of your channels. The upper left corner allows you to access your sample browser, modulatable effects, and your channel and master effects. Okay, now let's look at everything in more detail, starting with the keyboard layout at the bottom. The first key is your master playback key, where you can play back all engines together. Next to this is a green and blue key. The green key will play all risers and whooshes without playing the hit. And with the blue key, you can play all hits independently from the riser. The purple section includes 4 keys to play each layer of sound independently. The 4 yellow keys will play each riser independently. And the 4 blue keys next to this will play each hit independently. Lastly, on the keyboard, you have a purple key that will play the last portion of your riser going into the hit. This is a great way to audition your combination of risers into hits without having to play back the entirety of the riser. This can be especially useful when you are working with longer riser times. Okay, now let's get to the good part, the sounds of Phoenix. Phoenix provides loads of contemporary sound design in risers, whooshes, and hits, and makes it easy to find exactly what you're looking for. Either start from our easy-to-navigate sample selection page, or check out one of the many custom presets to get you started quickly. Our presets are loaded into Contacts Snapshots. Click this icon to switch to the Snapshots view. We've organized Phoenix presets into 3 main categories: hits, risers, and whooshes. Let's start by listening to some of the risers first. Let's try Rise from Ashes in the subs folder. Now let's try Generator in the Simple folder. Lastly, for the risers, let's go to the Extreme folder and try this one called Regenerate. Let's listen to a couple whoosh presets now. To start, let's preview Runaway Train in the High Air folder. Now, one more whoosh. Let's listen to cross dimensions in the low air folder. We've also included hits-only presets, where we've combined just the hit samples for that perfect layered hit combination. Let's listen to Snake Oil from the Deep folder. And lastly, let's go to the Sound Effects folder and check out Spaceship. Of course, if you want to layer and build your own sounds, use the sample page by either double-clicking a sample name already loaded into a channel or by clicking the main sample text at the top. From the sample selection page, you'll first want to select the engine you wish to find a new sound for. Engines can be selected by clicking in their box. Now you can go about finding a sample for the selected channel. The upper section's left half are tags to help you narrow your sample list. The current set of tags will be specific to the type of channel you have currently selected. So in this case, the tags as well as the sample results will be limited to only risers. Now let's narrow down my sample results by selecting a few tags. Let's try finding a sample that has tonality, is ascending, and is simple. Single-click on any of the sample results to hear a short preview. If you want to turn off the auto preview, click this icon. I like the sound of Saw Synth Rise, so I can double-click the sample to load it into the channel. Now, using the first yellow key, I can hear this sample play back with the rise time I've selected. Now let's find a hit to go with my new riser sample. I'll click over to my Hit 1 channel and start by narrowing down my sample list with my tags. I want to have a big, impactful hit, so I'm going to choose both sub and low end to find all hit samples with that description. Let's load low hit 49 into my channel. Now I'll use my first purple key to hear the full riser and hit combination in my first layer. Let's go ahead and make my second layer into a whoosh by clicking Whoosh here. Let's find something that is airy but simple. I like the sound of Air Swipe 3, so I'll load that into my whoosh channel. As I mentioned before, the keyboard has a trigger to hear just the transitional portion of your rise into a hit. We've also included this function here in the samples area. This can be a really useful way to hear how your rise and hit sounds together without having to play back the entire rise. And lastly on this page is the sample selection randomizer. If you are looking for a quick way to hear new combinations of sounds, this is a great place to start. We've also given you the option to randomize only specific parts of your sound. For instance, if you like your combination of various riser sounds, but want to try something new on only the hits, choose All Hits, then roll the dice. Once you have your samples in place, each engine gives you a ton of creative and useful features to further dial in your sound. For starters, each riser and whoosh can be placed anywhere within the overall timing. For example, with this riser, I can bring in the start time to about halfway through my full riser. I can also now move this riser to any location within the full timing of my riser. The same for the whooshes, with the only difference being whooshes don't just play back during the rise, so you can place a whoosh anywhere within your full sound. Hits also have placement flexibility using the offset knob here. This can be useful in creating a layered flam hit, or even moving some hits forward that have a bit of lead time in it, like this sample here. Nudging the offset back now helps line up the main hit of this sample to line up with the rest of your hits. Any riser sample from Phoenix can be mirrored and placed in the corresponding hit channel by clicking this icon here. For risers, hits, and whooshes, you'll have control for volume, pan, and attack time of your sample. For the attack time, you'll be able to see the attack curve on the samples themselves. The same goes for adjusting the release time of your hits. In the upper right-hand corner of Phoenix, let's hit the Edit tab to see even more controls for each channel. Let's start with this tail option on your risers. Turning this on will attach a tail portion to your riser that plays after the riser time has ended. Without this on, your riser sound stops immediately at the end of the rise time. Depending on your particular riser, sometimes your rise into a hit can be more effective with the tail off. But in many cases, turning on a tail can introduce some interesting new elements to your overall sound. All channels have a pitch knob, giving you 3 octaves of pitch change both up and down. With this large pitch stretching range, some samples can drastically transform, like this guitar rise sample. Let's turn this sample down 2 octaves and hear how it sounds. It's a dramatic but effective change to the sound. For your hits, we've also included a speed knob, which can speed up or slow down the playback of any hit. All types of channels will have this really useful low and high cut shaping tool. This can be really useful to quickly place your samples in specific frequency ranges to make all your samples fit together perfectly. For example, 2 samples with a lot of low end would not typically work well together. So bringing up the low cut now helps these 2 risers fit much better together. And lastly, on the edit page, if you switch to the multi-output version of Contact, you can utilize individual outputs for each of your channels. This allows for even further control of each of your sounds individually within your DAW. Let's now look at our modulatable effects, or as we're calling them, mods. There are 4 different slots where effects can be added. Here in slot 1, I have pan selected, where the effect is being modulated by LFO1. Now, to hear this effect on any channel, I can turn it on by clicking the corresponding number at the front of the channel. By default, the effect will only alter the rise portion of the sample. To change this, click this icon where you have options to apply the mod effect to both the rise and hit together, or just the hit. For now though, let's just leave it on the riser only. Looking back above, you can see the LFO has a drop-down where you can change the shape of the oscillator. Next to this, you can change the rate of the LFO by either specific note divisions or by frequency rate. You can also fade in the LFO by turning up the fade knob. The fade knob is useful to ease in any effect that you're applying. Turning this up will set a specific amount of time for the pan effect to fade in. And lastly, the amount knob will adjust the overall amount of the pan effect. So in this case, turning it down will lower the width of the pan effect. In each of the 4 mod effect slots, you can click this icon to see other effect options available. So for slot 2, let's add a reverb effect, and then change its modulation source to sequencer 1. Now I can adjust my sequencer, making it so only the very end of my riser will get a swell of reverb added to it. I can add this modulated reverb to any of my channels by simply turning on the mod effect number in front of it. As you can see, the creative possibilities of using mods are nearly endless. The last tab at the top is the Effects tab, where you can apply various effects on any specific channel or your entire sound by clicking Master Effects. To apply effects to a specific channel, click on the channel itself, then begin applying the effects you'd like. The upper right-hand corner of Phoenix gives you an option to latch the playback of your sound. This makes it so you don't have to hold down the keys to hear the entirety of your sound. Simply tap once on your playback key, and the full sound will be heard. I want to thank you for watching this walkthrough of Phoenix Rise, Hit, and Whoosh Builder. To learn more, or watch other videos or check out demos, please go to our website at vir2.com.